there will be light at the end of this tunnel. And as leaders, that is what we need to be communicating to our team. And one of the lessons that I've learned in this work from home period is that while we are practicing social distancing, we actually need to practice virtual proximity. We need to communicate more. We need to be more in touch with people because there is a lot of anxiety at the moment. I have actually never been a big fan of work from home. I have never worked from home before this episode of COVID-19 happened. But they say adversity brings out innovation, and necessity is the mother of invention. Now that I have experienced it, I've actually found that there is a lot you can do in the day. You save some time on commuting. You save some time on some very unnecessary people keeping on dropping into your office or meetings that happen. And it also gives you more time to spend with your family. Of course, that is good and bad, because 21 days, I just hope that at the end of this lockdown period, we don't see a surge of divorce rates or something like that. But it's really wonderful to be able to spend so much time with the family. There are many things I've done in this period, which I've not done for the last 30, 35 years. For example, first time in maybe 30, 35 years, I went to buy vegetables and buy groceries, which was a very good experience for me. Equally, at times like these, you've got to make sure. I'm not as you can see from my size, not a very big fitness fan, and being a Punjabi, have a weakness for food. So one of my biggest problems is, how do I keep my mouth zipped while I'm working from home? Because there's so many wonderful things all the time to eat, unlike when you're in office, when you don't have those options. But you also have to keep some sort of an exercise regime. I'm not a big one for exercise, but compared to my levels, I'm trying to sustain it or try to do a little more of it, because whole day you're locked up at home, you're inside. So it's important that there is circulation and your mind is fresh, and you look out of the window and you take some fresh air and so on, as much as you can in these circumstances. The most important thing I think to do is to keep your outlook positive. We have to be optimistic. We have to be confident that we're going to come out stronger from this and not weaker. And we have to make sure that our confidence and our positivity is infectious. A wrong word to use at these times, but it almost has to permeate across your teams. And therefore, as leaders, I think that has to be a big effort. Lovely time to spend time with your children, with your family, doing things that you like to do. I'm catching up on my reading. It's very strange. So actually, my days are longer than a normal working day, because since I handle APAC, there are different time zones. The day actually starts pretty early sometimes, and because our head office is in UK, it ends pretty late, and it usually are back to back because meetings are set up on that. But in between, you get some snatches of time, which is so wonderful to just be, sitting down and reading a book, or trying to, get your thoughts back, or just having a coffee with an e-newspaper or something like that. So I think those are some nice bonuses that come in as you go along. We're now coming into the weekend, which was a very interesting phase when you're working from home, because there's very little that separates the week from the weekend. And I've already got some things planned. I've got some reading planned for the weekend. I've got my wife has already got a menu planned for the weekend. So it's nice to see the whole family coming together and trying to figure out what are we going to do in this weekend. Of course, within the four walls of the house. So all in all, you've got to make the best of whatever situation you're dealt with. It's not so bad. It's only for 21 days. Nearly half of it is over. And I'm pretty sure that at the end of it, we're going to come out stronger.
So if you could give like a little insight on the books that you're planning to read, or what you're seeing on Netflix these days, and a little bit about your schedule, like from when you rise in the morning to end, like how do you divide your time?
Well, like I said, my day actually starts pretty early. The calls start pretty early in the morning, usually around 6:30 or 7 a.m., because that's when, Singapore and most of my other countries start operating. So the day starts pretty early. It's quite packed in the first half of the day. The second half tends to get a little lighter. And these days, I tend to finish work by about, so because it starts at 6:30 or so, by the time it's about 5:30, there's usually maybe one call in the evening with London, but otherwise the day finishes around 5:30. So after that, you've got a fair amount of time on your hand, because there's no commute to be done. You're at home, literally off work at, let's say, 5:30 or 6. I'm definitely catching up on reading. There's a book on macroeconomics which I'm currently reading, a subject which I wanted to study more about, and at times like these, I find that very useful. Written by a Harvard professor. I'm a big fan of Yuval Noah Harari. I've read all three of his books. A lot of articles that he's been writing these days for Financial Times and for various others I'm reading. But the big bonanza is that we're getting a lot of e-papers or PDF versions of papers, magazines. So I usually read on normal days. I read four or five newspapers before I leave home. These days, believe it or not, I'm reading something like 12 to 15 newspapers every day, often from all over the world. The US ones tend to be one day delayed. So there's a good amount of reading catch up which is happening, and there is a lineup of books that I've kept. I hope I can finish them before before the lockdown is over. I'm also we have a Campion School group, my old schoolmates, and one person started it, push-ups, and I'm nearly 90 kilos of weight, and nobody ever thought I could. But believe it or not, I did 17 of them yesterday, trying to add one every day, and I have video evidence in case anybody challenges. So it's a nice day. I mean, very very busy work day, but the bookends of the day are really cool. Particularly the evening, you get some time to watch, catch up on Netflix and Amazon Prime, all the shows which are there. I'm a big consumer of news, so a lot of time goes on news. I'm avoiding watching CNBC as much as I can, though not with great success, because it's pretty depressing to see that all your mutual funds and shares, somehow nobody has explained to my mutual funds and shares that it is a lockdown. They're just not getting locked, they're only going down. So because of that, I'm trying to see less of it, and so that the positivity remains. But I'm sure we shall overcome that as well. So all in all, long days, good time with the family, a lot of anxiety with a lot of people. So trying to communicate as much as I can, and also giving the real picture to my team and not trying to paint a picture which is rosier than reality.